Life is full of unexpected events, both good and bad. But what truly defines us is not what happens to us, but how we choose to react. In this story, Michaelan, Micah, and Tika, guided by their wise grandparents Mike and Lank, discover the power of their reactions in the face of challenges. This tale will remind you that your attitude shapes your reality and that you hold the power to turn any situation around. The rain had been pouring down relentlessly for hours, transforming the forest surrounding the cabin into a misty, gray landscape. Inside, the warmth of the fire provided a stark contrast to the cold and dampness outside, but the mood among the children was anything but warm. Michaelan sat by the window, watching the rain with a furrowed brow. Her younger siblings, Micah and Tika, were sprawled out on the rug, their usual energy dampened by the dreary weather. Even the usually cheerful Micah had a frown on her face as she flipped through the pages of a book without much interest. "I don't understand why it has to rain so much," Tika muttered, breaking the silence. "We had so many fun things planned for today. Now everything's ruined." Micah nodded in agreement, closing her book with a sigh. "We were supposed to go explore the new trail we found yesterday. Now we're stuck inside with nothing to do." Michaelan, feeling the weight of her siblings' disappointment, looked over at their grandparents, Mike and Lank, who were sitting by the fire. Mike was sipping tea, his face calm and serene, while Lank was knitting with the same peaceful expression she always wore. "Grandpa," Michaelan began, her voice tinged with frustration, "why does it feel like things always go wrong when we're excited about something? It's like the universe is against us." Mike set his tea down and smiled gently. Michaelan, it's easy to feel that way when things don't go as planned. But let me tell you something important. It's not what happens to us that defines our day or our happiness. It's how we react to those things." Lank, not missing a beat, added, "Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, children. Sometimes the rain comes when we want sunshine, and sometimes things don't go our way. But we always have a choice in how we respond to those moments." Tika, still staring gloomily at the rain outside, asked, "But what's the point of choosing how we react if we're still stuck inside, bored and disappointed?" Mike leaned forward, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of years. "Let me share a story with you, Tika. It's about a traveler who found himself in a situation much like this one." The children, sensing the beginning of one of their grandfather's stories, perked up a bit. Their curiosity piqued. "This traveler," Mike began, "was on a long journey when he was caught in a terrible storm. The wind howled and the rain poured down in sheets, just like it is now. The road ahead became a muddy mess, and it seemed that all his plans were completely ruined. At first, he felt just like you do, frustrated, disappointed, and angry at the weather for ruining his day." Michaelan nodded, understanding the traveler's feelings all too well. "I would be upset too, especially if I had a long way to go," Mike continued. But then the traveler did something remarkable. Instead of letting his frustration take over, he stopped, took a deep breath, and decided to change his perspective. He realized that he couldn't control the storm, but he could control how he responded to it. So, instead of trudging through the mud with a heavy heart, he began to sing. "Sing?" Micah asked, tilting her head in surprise. "In the middle of a storm?" "Yes," Mike said with a smile. He sang a cheerful tune, something that lifted his spirits. And as he sang, others who were caught in the storm heard him. One by one, they joined in, their voices rising above the sound of the rain. Soon, the storm didn't seem so terrible anymore. The traveler and those around him were no longer focused on how the storm had ruined their plans. Instead, they found joy in the moment, simply by choosing to react differently. Tika, who had been listening intently, seemed to understand where the story was going. So, even though the storm didn't go away, they felt better because they changed how they reacted? "Exactly," Lank said, smiling at her grandson. "They couldn't change the storm, but they could change how they felt about it. And that made all the difference." Michaelan looked out the window again. But this time, her gaze was different. She wasn't focused on the rain anymore, but on the possibilities within the situation. "So, if we can't go outside, maybe we can find something fun to do inside, instead of just sitting here being upset." Lank nodded approvingly. "That's the spirit, Michaelan. Sometimes all it takes is a shift in perspective to turn a bad situation into a good one." Micah, inspired by her sister's new outlook, jumped up. Why don't we build a fort? We can use the blankets and pillows, and we can pretend it's our own little world where the rain can't reach us. Tika's face lit up with excitement. Yes, and we can tell stories inside the fort, just like the traveler did during the storm. Mike chuckled softly, watching his grandchildren's moods shift from gloom to excitement. Now you're thinking like the traveler. It's not about the rain, but about how you choose to react to it. As the children began gathering blankets and pillows, the cabin was soon filled with the sounds of laughter and creativity. The rain continued to fall outside, but inside, the atmosphere had completely changed. What had started as a disappointing day was now filled with fun and imagination, all because the children had chosen to react differently. Once the fort was built, they all crawled inside, cozy and warm, with the soft light of the fire illuminating their faces. Michael, feeling proud of how they had turned the day around, looked at her siblings. This is so much better than just sitting and complaining about the rain. We made our own fun, just like the traveler. Lank, watching her grandchildren with pride, said softly, "Remember this, my dears. Life will always have its storms, both big and small. But you have the power to choose how those storms affect you. It's your reaction that truly matters." Mike added, "And that's a lesson that will serve you well throughout your lives. No matter what happens, remember that you have the strength to respond with positivity and grace." The children nodded, their spirits lifted, and for the rest of the day, they played and laughed together, forgetting all about the rain outside. This story beautifully illustrates the power of our reactions. Life will always throw challenges our way, but how we choose to respond is what truly shapes our experiences. By embracing a positive mindset, we can turn even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth and joy. This message resonates with you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories like this one. And share this video with friends who might need a reminder that they hold the power to shape their own happiness. Let's spread the word about the strength that lies in how we react to life's challenges.